The year was 1992. I was fresh out of high school and I thought I was so fly. I had a high top fade, sometimes with a zigzag pattern, other times with a step. A year prior, my brother and I attended a convention where he picked up the first Bandai figure that he ever owned, the Mothra Lava. I did a figure review that you can watch in the link above to hear me gush over that piece. It was a perfect companion piece to my only cherished Godzilla figure, the Imperial 6-inch one from the Godzilla 1985 merchandise available. That, with my recently acquired Bandai Rodan figure that was supplied to us by our friend Bill from the last video that I did. You can see the details in my review for that figure in the previous installment of this back in the 90s Godzilla collection series. That following summer, my family and I relocated from New England to Southern California, bringing very little with me but my clothes, my artistic endeavors, and my growing Godzilla obsession. And one day, my middle brother and I received a package for us each from Japan, from a friend of a mutual friend, a mysterious benefactor going only by the name Mark Gilson. I kid, of course. We had met Mark a year or so prior to this, and he, like myself, was an enthusiast of the tokusatsu genre. He's also extremely generous and thoughtful, and perhaps a bit psychic, but more on that later. When we opened our boxes, we were both flabbergasted at the contents. I'll save my brother's reveal for the next video, but for me, nothing could have been more spot on. What you see here were the contents of said package, my first real hook into the fascinating hobby of vinyl kaiju collecting, Anguirus and Baragon. While Rodan is my all-time favorite, these two channeled a flood of curiosity, possibility, and the ominous omen that my wallet would never be the same going forward. Yes, this was the true gateway into my 30-plus year quest of collecting Toho Kaiju vinyls from Bandai. In Mark's care package, he wrote with enthusiasm about sending my brother and I these items, and I was all in. Bandai had released a wave of figures that same year of 1992 with a variety of classic Toho creatures to coincide with the release of the Heisei film Godzilla vs. Mothra. Yes, for the past 2 or so years, I was rediscovering Godzilla with the news of Godzilla vs. Biollante, a film I watched on bootleg VHS, and Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah, literally just released and also seen in the same form of media. I was consuming every bit of information available, which was not like today with the internet. In that fever dream period of Godzilla's world, I had decided to write and illustrate a peripheral comic book tale of Anguirus, who comes ashore and does battle with, you guessed it, Baragon. It's really an odd assortment of ideas, as the comic's main cast is a bunch of kids and guitar legend Steve Vai. Don't ask, who is in tour in Japan. The Zillions release Baragon, and Anguirus cockblocks him from causing any destruction. The story was never completed, but I still have the book to this day. This comic predates my acquiring these two vinyls. You see where my psychic comment about Mark comes into play? Yes, with all the excitement of Godzilla's new series of films, these two figures appeared at the right time. While my previously mentioned Rodan and my brother's Mothra Lover were packed away in some box that was being shipped out to us eventually, I had only these two excellent monsters to stare at. Much different from today's Bandai movie monster series, these vinyl were made of a more sturdier plastic, or vinyl I guess you should say, at a larger scale as well. These are one of the few figures that actually replicate what you see on screen fairly well, especially the Baragon one. Now, when I got these out of the box, I was just dumbfounded how great these were. I'll start with Anguirus. One of Godzilla's classic sidekicks, Anguirus, is molded in a charcoal brown gray with sprays of nice metallic gold all around certain areas. Looks beautiful. That face sculpt is amazing. Look at those eyes upturned, just like a classic Toho Kaiju. And look at the face front on, man. You see those fangs, you see that horn nose. It's got that multi-horned crest. Looks beautiful. All around, if you look at this guy, you can see that Bandai really did put a lot of effort into this to make it look like what you see on screen. The tail has all those amazing spikes jutting out from it from the very tip, and the back is really well done. It's got that nice spiky carapace. This is a beautiful figure. I couldn't wait to get him paired up with my Rodan, because now I was truly starting to build a monster cast. Look at this frilled horned crest. The nose, it's got a little bit of paint wear from over years of owning it. The underbelly has those nice ridges beneath it. It's a really very sturdy, still to this day in the same shape as it was as I remember pulling it out. Look at the scaling on its legs, its arms, its underside. Again, looking at those creased belly folds underneath the tail. The feet have a lot of detail too. Underneath of the front feet have the indicia, and yeah, just turning this around, you can really appreciate what had come before. The movie Monster series. The head joint does not move, however. It's just a glue seam, and there's no movement on the tail. But man, look at that back. Look at it. It's just a thorny hide. You just don't want to mess with this guy. Looks gorgeous. Everywhere you look, it's just a smorgasbord of textures. It's just a wonderful little figure to have. Now, his legs do move. They don't do a full 360 like you would get with most figures to this day, but they move just enough. It's not really, detrimental to the monster because he was always on his hands and knees. So if you're on his tippy toes, he looks like he's about to take a shit somewhere in the woods. Positioning him back, the arms also move. Again, not a full 360 because of those horns. They get in the way a little bit, so you can't really do the full rotation, which is fine. Again, not necessary for this quadruped. He was always in the position of hands and knees. Yeah, I mean, this is a great example of Bandai's 1990s. Now, saving the best for last, bringing out this guy, Baragon. Yeah, look at this guy. He just looks beautiful, man. I mean, he looks like he came right out of those stock images that I would get out of that Ian Thorne book. He's molded in this olive greenish gray skin tone. He's got details. He's got all, his feet have nothing on the bottom, but the rest of him, he's got like this kind of bumpy, warty skin. His back has got these like shingles that go all the way down to his tail tip. Looks great. And I like how he has like these little like bumpy textures on his skin. His claws are really nice. They got those gold sprays, big ears, perked up forward, those little gold horns on the top of his head. And he's got that ivory horn. It's got a little chipping on the tip from years of just having him. It eventually will wear off. His eyes have that same ivory color, as do his teeth. Now, the inner ears have this gold spray. Looks good. And like I said, those teeth got that nice ivory paint job, and well done because they have the individual ones painted. The toes also are in gold, and this right here, the chest in that metallic blue. Now, for some reason when I was younger, I used to think Baragon was blue, but then I saw Frankenstein Conquers the World, and obviously I was like, oh. Now, turning our attention to the overall figure's articulation, we get a rotation at the leg, although again, the older Bandai don't seem to do the full 360. On both legs, it only goes so far, high enough to make him look like he's kicking. The arms, however, do the full 360, which is nice. Not that they really serve much. And we get a head swivel, of course, a complete 360 with that. It's wonderful. And all the joints are nice and tight. Look at the tail. There's a 360, although I'm kind of nervous with this. This guy's been in storage for a number of years, but it looks good to me. Yeah, so again, this is just such a great figure. It's probably my favorite Baragon figure. I have several different versions of Baragon, but this guy, along with this Anguirus, are a really nice set, and it was genius of Mark Gilson to give me these two characters of all the ones he could have chosen. So I'm very happy and I'm very thankful, and I would like to take this moment to really thank him if he's watching. Now, let's take a look at some other examples we're going to compare these two guys with their more modern Bandai Movie Monster series figures, and we'll see how things have changed and how some things may have stayed the same. Anguirus perhaps has had the most renditions of him produced in vinyl, and we have this smaller version from the Godzilla Island series. It's essentially a downscaled version, different color scheme. Obviously, the body's molded in a more lighter brown, and the gold is a little bit more warmer than the one that was on the original Godzilla collection. Now, they do have some slight differences. With the tail, it looks like, in this case, is a little bit less curved or less perked up than it is on the original. But other than that, it's pretty much a spot-on mold downscale. You can see the heads, the eyes are placed differently, with the Godzilla Island one looking more forward. But let's pull out the more modern take here with the Dream 5 Anguirus. Now, this one is similar in terms of the colors are pretty close. You get that kind of more warm cement or darker cement color, and you see a slight difference in terms of they went for a more realistic approach with his spiked carapace versus the shiny gold of the Godzilla collection from the 90s. Both are pretty similar in size. They both have decent sculpts. Obviously the Godzilla collection one has a little bit more of a cartoonish look to it, a more classic sofubi, as I like to call it. But they both are pretty good. They scale good. You almost at a first glance wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Now, with Baragon, he's only had one update via the Movie Monster series, and that one arrived, I believe, in 2023. Now, you'll see this one is actually more screen accurate in terms of colors chosen, as he's molded in a warm brown, and, there's no metallic sprays like we have on the Godzilla, collection. This Baragon is pretty nice, but, I don't know. There's something about this guy right here that I just love more. I just like the sturdiness of the materials. I love the wild color sprays, which is really odd because, like I said, I'm kind of a screen accurate nut, and he just pops more. I like the fact that he's got some head rotation. He's got some tail movement. He's just got a little bit more in terms of playability from a kid's standpoint, where the other one is just more like, here's a statue of the guy that you like. Yeah. Now, head sculpt close up, you can see there's some differences as well. The choice of, look at the brow with the eyes. One is a little bit closer to the eyeball, and the other one's a little bit more raised on the newer version. Their horns both have chipping on it, which is annoying, but that's what you get with sometimes with specified horns. The claws are painted more realistic on the Movie Monster series. The back has that nice brown, lighter brown hue versus that vibrant gold popping. Now, here's a group shot of all of these guys and their evolution in vinyl from Bandai. Yes, these all have very similar things going on. In the case, they're all great acquisitions. Now, Bandai had produced the line of the Godzilla collection in the 90s, but I have to say, for the time and to this day, the sculpting is still really good as compared to certain other figures from the line. Sometimes they're very hit or miss, and this is a hit for me, especially with Baragon. He has great details. So, this is basically my thoughts on these two figures. I'm not going to do a ratings review because obviously these are so classic and well beloved. Everyone loves these figures, and I'm in that camp. So, oh hey JJ, what seems to be the problem? Oh, well, no, not this episode. You see, these are such classic Bandai sofubi. I decided that we're just going to skip the punch rating, if you don't mind. Whoa. I understand you want to punch something, but quite frankly, there's nothing left here to punch. What do you mean, yes, there is? Who are you going to punch? Punch! Oh, shoot, that hurt. Oh, so anyway, you're still here. So the Godzilla collection, these two figures, Baragon and Anguirus, were my two first, real wide realization that there were other monsters in vinyl format out in the world. And I was adamant now at this point to look forward and see if I could find other characters that I could add to my monster cast. But these guys, these two right here are my crown jewels of the Showa, at least, renditions from the Godzilla collection line from the 90s. Do you guys have any of these? Have you started collecting that far back? Or you're a relatively new collector and are interested in purchasing these guys? I'm sure they're still available. I mean, on the aftermarket, obviously, but they, prices fluctuate. If you're interested in looking at getting these with the movie monster series out and making more screen accurate versions of characters, I'm not sure if these have become obsolete in some people's minds. For a time, I started to think that myself, but looking back at these now, I really do appreciate the scale, the detail, and even the wild colors that were applied to the series of figures. Stay tuned, guys, and I'll be back with the next chapter discussing what my older brother had received in his package. Let me know in the comments what you think. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next installment.